Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the problem with DEI in movies. So when it comes to the topic of the problem with DEI in movies, um, is the problem with DEI like having black people, Latinos, Asians in roles for things that they shouldn't really be in? Like, for example, you might have a setting that takes place in medieval Europe. Why the hell are they in medieval Europe? Or you might have a storyline that takes place in Asia. Why the hell is there a black person in Asia? Or whatever other group of people. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to the topic of the problem with DEI, it simply comes down to the fact that DEI is just simply stupid, okay? And the reason why it's stupid is that it just looks out of place, okay? And that's a problem with it, okay? And that's what we'll be talking about today, as well as what could be done to obviously solve the problem, okay? And that's the truth. So now let's get started. So when it comes to the problem with DEI in movies, okay, the obvious problem with it is simply down to the fact that it looks out of place, okay? Okay, like if I'm looking at a movie and it's obviously taking place in medieval Europe, okay, for that matter, to be honest with you, or it's taking place in Asia, ancient Asia, or even India, medieval, or I should say ancient India, the Middle East, whatever for that matter. I want to immerse myself in the experience whatsoever as much as possible, okay? I want to really feel like I'm there. I want to see people who look like they're from that part of the world, okay? I want to truly you know, kind of put my mind in that world. That's the truth of the matter, okay? That's what you want to do when you have a movie. You want something known as immersion. You really want to feel like you're there. And if you were to be in medieval Europe, and yes, this is coming from not just a black person, but a left-wing black person, okay? But yeah, like I was saying before, if you want to be in medieval Europe, you have to realize everybody you're going to see is going to be white. Okay? In Asia, in the past, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, everybody you're going to see is going to be Asian, you know? And that's the truth of the matter, okay? And one of the most important things about a movie is immersion. You really want to feel like you're in the world of the movie, okay? To be honest with you. Like I was saying before, as a left-wing person, I have to admit this DEI stuff is so stupid, okay? And back to what I was saying before about, of course, immersion, okay? You really truly want to feel like you're there, and not just feel like you're there, you want to take the movie seriously, okay? But when you're actually having a person of a different race that shouldn't really be there, and if they were there, there'd only be people like traders and stuff like that, like people who go up there just to sell goods and so on and so forth, okay? Instead of having them like in a role of like being a king or a prince or even maybe a nobleman, like for that matter, okay? The truth of the matter is, as a result of that, it kills the ability for you to take the movie seriously. It feels stupid and dumb because you're like, okay, this literally doesn't make any sense. How the hell would a black person be in, let's just say, for example, England, and not just in England, but be the king of England at like that time period? Like that makes literally no sense. How the fuck does he get there, and become a king? And if he was there, a very slim chance he would have gone there. He would have just been like someone who just goes there to trade goods. But to say that he's literally the king of the nation makes absolutely no sense. And obviously, if you can't take a movie seriously and you're not able to as well immerse yourself in the experience, okay, it's not going to feel as great because it's going to look stupid and silly for that matter, okay? It looks dumb, to be quite honest with you, and it kills the ability to truly put your mind in that world. It's just like if you see a movie and like a character is like going up in the sky and doing all these acrobatic moves and stuff, and you literally see the strings for it, then you're not gonna take it as seriously, and it's gonna ruin the experience. And when it comes to things like this, it ruins the ability to enjoy the experience. Not only does it make it seem kind of silly, it kills the most important thing, which is immersion. Truly feeling like you're in the world of the movie. And that's one of the biggest things I definitely, undeniably have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, with this DEI crap, okay, to put it bluntly, in movies, okay? It kills the ability for you to truly feel like you're there, and as a result, it ruins the movie experience. So that's the honest truth about it, and as a result, why it's bad for movies. Now that I've talked about that, the obvious question is what could be done instead? Well, the simple answer to that question is simply common sense. And that's the thing that I always wonder why Hollywood doesn't do this. Okay, instead of randomly just putting black characters or characters of color like Latinos, Arabs, Indians, Chinese in locations, and not just locations, but time periods just to add to that as well, where it wouldn't make sense for them to be in. Why don't they just simply focus more on having more diversity for their themes for their movies, okay? Like, could you imagine how well a movie that actually took place in Africa hundreds of years ago, that was actually based on a culture and actually, historically accurate would do? Especially when you take into consideration that compared to other cultures of the world, we know extremely little about African civilizations that existed, like the civilization in Mali, the Mali Empire. Another one could be the Songhai, or even other ones like obviously the Nubian Empire, um, the Zimbabwe empire that existed in the past, in Southern Africa, like all that type of shit. Could you imagine how well that would do? And that's the truth of the matter. If you really are complaining about there's not enough diversity in movies, for that matter, okay, why don't you just do that instead? Or not even just for that, but have people of all different cultures, like for people, like for example, in Mesoamerica, like in other words, we could pretty much say Latinos at this point now. Why don't we have Latinos, depicted, in their ancestral homeland, whether they could be, of course, the Aztecs, the Mayans, or even later on, for that matter, maybe civilizations or I should say nations that existed, my bad, you know, same thing, whatever, you get the point, okay? Like nations that existed when the Spanish colonized the New World and stuff, or just for any group of people, okay? That's a good way to not only make sure there's enough representation, but also come with a lot more storyline and ideas, which Hollywood is definitely lacking nowadays. Because you just see people talk about the same freaking things over and over again, which is that movies nowadays are repetitive or just remakes and this and that, so wouldn't that also help the situation as well? And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Why don't we just do that shit, you know instead of just wasting our time just having a black person as a king of medieval England, or maybe have, like, for all you know, like a Latino be like the warrior, who unites China or something like that. Like, why don't we just simply just do that instead? Just have their own cultures represented for whatever cultures, instead of this forced DEI crap. And that's the honest truth here. Let's just do that instead. So that's the thing that I would suggest is the way to kind of solve this problem. But obviously we all know Hollywood executives, a lot of them are dumb as hell, and they're not going to do that. But that's the solution, what I think should be done in order to help this DEI issue. So that is honest truth. So anyway, this is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, when it comes to, of course, the issue of the problem with DEI in movies is that it ruins the ability to immerse yourself in experience and truly feel like you're there, because of the situation that's there. And that's the honest truth of the matter, okay? And when it comes to why it's a problem in movies. So if you didn't know why it's a problem in movies, that is the reason why it's a big problem in movies. It just doesn't look good. And not only did I give a reason why, it sucked if you didn't understand it, but also a solution of what can be done. So that is my video, and I hope you found it informative, as well as found it interesting and entertaining as well. And this is all to say, and simply put it, I'm out. So bye.